There's a quiet shift that happens the moment you stop picking up every call, replying to every message, saying yes when your soul is screaming no. It's the moment you stop being constantly available, and everything begins to change. People start to notice. Some pull away, others get louder. The world, which once felt so demanding of your time and energy, suddenly reveals its true colors, and for the first time, you see it clearly. Not everyone had access to you because they valued you. Some were just addicted to the version of you that never said no. In a society that glorifies hustle, availability, and constant access, stepping back feels radical, even wrong. But what if the most powerful thing you can do isn't to give more, but to withhold what's no longer earned? Because the truth is, your availability shapes your reality. And the moment you take it back, your entire life starts to shift. There's a subtle shift that happens when you stop being constantly available to everyone. At first, it's quiet, undetectable, but it grows louder, not in your words, but in your absence. Suddenly, people start noticing the silence. They wonder where you've gone, why you haven't replied, why you're not showing up like you used to. And in that gap, something powerful is born. Respect. Because when you stop handing out your energy like free samples, people start to understand it has value. And so do you. Most people live their lives trying to be everything for everyone. They say yes when they mean no. They answer every call, respond to every message, show up even when they're exhausted, because they're afraid. Afraid of disappointing others, afraid of being forgotten, afraid of being seen as selfish. But in trying to please everyone, they end up betraying themselves. Their time disappears. Their peace evaporates, and their sense of self, it fades into the background noise of other people's expectations. But then something clicks. Maybe it's burnout. Maybe it's heartbreak. Maybe it's just the slow ache of realizing that the people you've bent over backward for wouldn't even flinch if you stopped showing up. And that's when the shift begins. You stop replying instantly. You take longer to return calls. You cancel plans that drain you. You create space. Not out of malice, but out of necessity. You begin to protect your energy like it's your most sacred resource, because it is. At first, it feels wrong. You feel guilty. You wonder if you're pushing people away. But then you realize, the people who truly care about you don't need you to be constantly available to feel loved. They respect your boundaries, they honor your time. And those who get angry, those who guilt trip you, call you changed, or accuse you of being distant. They were never really in your corner to begin with. They were in your life for access, not connection. This is when you begin to see the truth. Being constantly available doesn't make you valuable. It makes you easy to take for granted. It makes people forget that your time, your presence, your love are privileges, not entitlements. And when you start reclaiming those things, the entire dynamic changes. People begin to approach you differently, not with demands, but with respect. Not with expectations, but with appreciation. Because the moment you stop being constantly available is the moment you become deeply magnetic. Your energy becomes rarer, more potent. People start to lean in, wondering what changed. And what changed is simple. You did. You stopped chasing validation through overgiving. You stopped tying your worth to how much you could sacrifice. You started honoring yourself. And in doing so, you shifted from someone who is needed to someone who is valued. This shift doesn't just affect your relationships with others. It transforms your relationship with yourself. You begin to reclaim your time. You read the books you always said you'd read. You take long walks alone. You build. You rest. You heal. You realize how much of your life was spent filling cups that never poured back into yours. And once you taste the peace of your own solitude, you stop begging for crumbs from tables you don't even belong at. You see, when you're always available, people assume you have nothing else going on. It's a harsh truth, but it's real. Constant accessibility signals a lack of purpose, a lack of boundary, a lack of direction. But when you're unavailable, not in a rude or avoidant way, but in an intentional, purposeful way, you send a different message. You say, I have a life, I have goals, I'm not just sitting around waiting for your attention. And that message, that confidence, it's magnetic. In friendships, you notice who sticks around when you stop being the emotional caretaker. In dating, You see who respects your time versus who feels entitled to it. In business, you realize that exclusivity breeds demand. And in life, you understand that availability is not the same as connection. You can be surrounded by people and still feel unseen. But when you hold your energy sacred, you attract those who see you clearly and show up with the same level of presence. This isn't about becoming cold. It's not about building walls or isolating yourself. It's about discernment, about recognizing that your time and energy are finite and treating them like the treasures they are. It's about learning to say, I can't make it without guilt, about choosing depth over frequency, silence over noise, alignment over obligation. And in doing so, you make room for the right people, the right opportunities, the right life to unfold. It's easy to think that being constantly available keeps you close to people. But the reality is, it often pushes you further away from yourself. You lose touch with your needs. You forget your goals. You sacrifice your peace for people who wouldn't do the same for you. And somewhere in that chaos, you lose your edge, your vision, your fire. But when you step back, when you allow yourself to breathe, you begin to remember who you were before the world taught you to overextend. That's when you begin to glow differently, not because you're seeking attention, but because you've reclaimed it. You're no longer trying to be seen. You see yourself. You're no longer trying to be loved. You love yourself. And that shift, it radiates. It changes how you walk into rooms, how you speak, how you hold eye contact. You're no longer proving anything. You're just being. And in a world addicted to performance, your authenticity becomes revolutionary. Here's the paradox. When you stop being constantly available, people who once overlooked you start chasing you. Not because you're playing games, but because you've changed the rules. You've stopped playing small. You've stepped into your power, and people can feel that. The same ones who used to expect instant replies now wait in silence. The ones who treated you like an option now ask for your time with reverence, because your absence taught them something your presence never could, that you are not to be taken for granted. And those who walk away when you stop giving them unlimited access, let them go. They were never meant to stay. Their leaving is a gift, a clearing of space for those who understand the value of your time, your energy, your essence. You don't need everyone. You just need alignment. Quality over quantity. Depth over popularity. And when you choose yourself, the right people choose you too. So if you've been feeling stretched thin, if your phone is always buzzing and your soul is always tired, maybe it's time to pull back, to take a breath, to remember that you don't owe everyone a piece of you, that you are not a lifeline for people who refuse to swim, that your worth isn't measured by your availability, but by your integrity, your presence, your peace. The most powerful thing you can do is not answer that message, not show up to that draining event, not over-explain yourself. The most powerful thing you can do is protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. And when you do, everything changes. The energy you once gave away without thinking becomes a force that draws the right people, the right opportunities, the right life, straight to you. You were not born to be everything to everyone. You were born to be something deep, rare, and irreplaceable. And when you stop being constantly available, you give yourself permission to become exactly that. If this message resonated with you, if something in your soul stirred while you listened, don't let it stop here. This isn't just a video. It's a reminder that your energy is sacred, that your presence is powerful, and that choosing yourself is never selfish. It's necessary. If you're on a journey to reclaim your peace, your purpose, your power, you're not alone. This channel is a space for people like you, people who think deeper, feel harder, live intentionally. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Not just so you don't miss the next video, but so you never forget this feeling. The feeling of coming home to yourself. And if you found value in this, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Because the more we protect our energy, the more we remind others that they can do the same. Until next time, Protect your peace. Honor your boundaries. And never apologize for choosing yourself. You're not here to be available. You're here to be aligned.